I know I'm on a little earlier, but I want to give everybody a chance to come on before I start. And let me double check and make sure everything is good. My high resolution audio. Okay, sure, put that on. That's good. Whatever. Uh huh. And let's see. Let me make sure everybody knows I'm live. So let me share out the links to the stream. So bear with me 1 second if you're on here right now. I don't want to just, be without anything. So I want to make sure people know that I'm on right now. So I'm going to share out the different links to the stream. Do, 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 do. Yeah. Where is it? Here we go. So how's everyone tonight? I'm live right now on Twitter and YouTube. Here's the link. So everyone should now know. There you go. So I'm going to start in a few minutes, give people a chance to show up. Got my beer. Let me share my screen. Let me get rid of do that. All right. I figured I would go live now, because Sunday I can't, because Sunday INN has How Do We Miss That? Don't miss that on. Let me see what time it's on, because I'm gonna forget, so I don't want to screw it up. 10 o'clock Eastern. Okay. So, How Did We Miss That is on INN 10 o'clock Eastern on Sunday nights, so I can't stream Sunday nights, so I can stream right now, which is usually late nights like this would be on Saturday nights usually. It wouldn't be during the week because people go to work, go to school, etc., etc. So Saturday nights, unless you're out in the clubbing, which I'm not, obviously, but if you are, then that's what you're going to be doing. You're not going to be, hanging out here with me randomly. So, but yeah, I appreciate whoever's joining me right now, and we'll get started in a few. I just have to put up my disclaimer real quick so people understand that there's no offense or anything like that. Yeah. So how's everyone this evening? Ready to start? Let me see. Get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's do that. That's new. See everything here. I shouldn't probably share it like that then. Just playing around here in my settings, so bear with me 1 second while I figure out how to share this properly. Even though I already know how to do this, but still. Hopefully there's not a repeat of last week's stream, where I had, or not last week's stream, but actually literally it was yesterday's stream, on Friday. Let me make sure people know that I'm live, because it's been 5 minutes, so I'm not trying to be talking to myself here for 30 minutes. So here we go. Ooh. Alright, so I'm just gonna get started with some random stuff right now. I'm bored, so let me play my just in case, play my disclaimer first, so give me a second. Alright. So that's played, so let's do this. So let's start with some political shit, because I'm bored and people are actually gonna watch this, so bam, here we go. Let's start with Jamie Raskin, who, this was posted today, so apparently it might have been yesterday, because there's no way that the House is in session on a Saturday, I don't think. Maybe they are, I don't know, because I don't really pay attention to the House that often. Anyways, this is Jamie Raskin melting down here, so let's check this out. Truly demented outburst fired this week by Representative Jamie Raskin, fomenting that a bill to limit censorship of social media by government agents should be called the Protect Putin Act, or Putin Protection Act, because what Republicans really want is for Putin and Z to run our free over our platforms. Okay, this motherfucker's lost his mind, so let's make this bigger so I don't have to actually put this full screen. And hopefully it won't be a repeat of Friday when my computer completely crashed on me and ended the stream too early. But let's see. Hopefully it won't happen again.
They're agnostic about, well, the truth and lies. Who knows what really happened? Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Well, they've got a perfect bill for you then. We call it the Putin Protection Act.
The Putin Protection Act. So apparently protecting free speech is somehow protecting Putin. He should stop doing so much chemo, because it's really affecting his brain, unfortunately. I know that's wrong, I shouldn't say that, but clearly the chemo's fucking up his brain. So let's continue checking this out.
That's what it is. The Putin Protection Act. Distinguished gentleman from New York explained Putin spent millions of dollars in 2016 to pump propaganda, electoral sabotage into our political system. He did. Every security agency in the country told us that. We got a bipartisan report from the Senate saying it. They're agnostic about it. When it comes to Putin, they see no evil, they hear no evil, none of it. No, but we know that it happened, okay? That's Putin's plan. Why? Putin cannot beat America politically. He can't beat us economically. He can't beat us militarily. Putin can't beat us philosophically. There's one thing he's got: the internet. Why? Because we're a wide open country. And so he says, let's take advantage of it. Let's go on their social media platform. We'll put people who oppose Putin on the internet in jail, which they do. If you send a
This man's lost his mind. He's maniacal. He's like, well, so what he's suggesting is the internet shouldn't be so free because Putin can use it and somehow do propaganda. But our government does propaganda on the internet. That's okay though. That's okay to Raskin. What's not okay is the Russians doing propaganda. Like I said, stop doing so much chemo. It's affecting your brain. Just do some more.
a tweet against Putin, you're going to jail. You put out a tweet against his filthy imperialist war, which some of them support in Ukraine. You put out a tweet.
Filthy imperialist war. How about this, buddy? What about all of our imperialist wars over the last 20 years? Hell, we haven't left Germany or Japan, and World War II is almost 100 years ago, ended 100 years ago almost. We still have not left those countries. And somehow the Russians are imperialists? Please spare me.
Tweet against that in Russia, you're going to jail. But he says, let's take advantage of America's openness. We'll take advantage of them, and we're going to put out propaganda. We'll lie about when the election is. We'll say it's on Thursday when it's on Tuesday. We'll tell people to go vote next week, whatever. And that's the genesis of this whole thing.
Well, does that really work? I know Republicans do those tricks that the election's next week, not that week. The election's a week after when the election day is. Does that work? Does anybody get tricked by that? Because I don't think it's ever worked in human history. Like, people are not stupid, they know when the election is for the most part. This is ridiculous to claim that. They claim that that's never worked in history. Excuse me.
We have our.
Hey, I got 3 viewers. Thank you for joining me. Do me a favor, like the stream if you haven't already. It helps a lot with the algorithm, and YouTube algorithm is, I'm sure, going to suppress me. So let's please get those likes up. Thank you.
Security agencies who alert social media, and they say they're putting up fraudulent information on your platform. And now they come forward and they say the Democrats are trying to what? Tell the truth. Not Democrats, the government, our paid federal government agencies are trying to tell the social media when foreign malign actors like Russia and China and Iran are trying to interfere in our elections. That's what this is about. Putin Protection Act. They want Putin and Xi to run free over our platforms, and then they want to fine federal government employees thousands of dollars if they alert our government to what foreign malign actors are doing. And the whole...
I lost track of what he was saying. This man's maniacal. He's out of his mind. He is fucking out of his mind. Look at that. What is that? I mean, I cannot believe that. I lost track of what he said, so I let it keep going, but... Excuse me.
Justification for it is their silly obsession with Hunter Biden's laptop and this New York Post story, which was taken down by Twitter for one day,
wait.
3 weeks before.
You kidding me? The Hunter Biden thing? I mean, that's crazy to you? What did he say exactly? Hold on. Let me go back a little bit.
Which was taken down by Twitter for the election with Hunter Biden's laptop.
Oh, the obsession with Hunter Biden's laptop. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Chill out. I will keep up the work. But what was I saying? The Hunter Biden laptop. Seriously? We all know that was censored. Because right before the election it came out. Like a month before the election, the New York Post put out a story. They put out a story that basically says that exposes what's on Hunter Biden's laptop. And the rest of the media straight up ignored it. Just straight up, like it didn't exist. Nope. Is Russian propaganda, doesn't exist. And if you cover it, then you're a Russian propagandist. That's how Biden won the election. Because Twitter just censored the story right out. They censored it right out, like it doesn't exist. I think I got suspended for trying to share that story. I couldn't share it on Facebook, couldn't share it on Twitter, I couldn't share it anywhere because I either wouldn't allow me to post it, or if it did post it, it got me suspended. Not suspended, but in Twitter jail basically, or Facebook jail. So I wasn't permanently suspended, but I was temporarily suspended for posting that. And now, a few weeks after the election, they admit, oh yeah, by the way, that the laptop's real. New York Post had it right. Of course they did. They sourced the story properly. It wasn't like it was made up out of whole cloth. Unbelievable. Let's keep going.
And this New York Post story, which was taken down by Twitter for one day, 3 weeks before the election, as an exercise of their private decision making. Then Elon Musk buys Twitter and he fires 6 journalists because they disagree with him. They've got no problem with that because, of course, it's a private entity. They can do whatever they want. They want to fire journalists, they fire them. They want to take a story down for an hour or a day, they can do that. And then they want to turn that into
It's not really a wig. It's like a do rag, I guess. He's he has cancer, so he's getting on chemo. But I don't know why he just doesn't let his bald head, show out. I have a bald head. I look good. So bald head, and there's nothing wrong with it. But he is going through chemo, so that's why I think it's some kind of do rag. I don't know what that is, or is it a wig? Is that hair back there? It could be a. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Let's keep going.
the basis for handcuffing the entire government of the United States so we can't protect ourselves against Vladimir Putin and President Xi? Give me a break. I yield back.
Yield back. You made an ass out of yourself, sir. There's nothing important there. He just made an ass out of himself. He's pro-Russia. He's anti-Russian. He's a Russophobe. He hates Chinese for some reason. So he just went out there and just exposed his xenophobia against the Chinese and the Russians. Congratulations. Yeah, it is. I mean, I have a bald head. I look great. It's not, you can see it. I'm not sure you see it right now, but uh, I have a great head here. I don't know why he's covering up his bald head, but whatever. To each his own, I guess. Excuse me. If I cough or I sound nasally, I apologize. I have my allergies are acting up right now. Let's see what else I can talk about right now. There's more. I'm gonna read you the actual text of the bill. It says, let's see, you can see it here. Not really. Does anybody make this bigger? No. Is there any way to make this closer? Here we go. Yep, there is a way. It's a leopard pattern do-rag he's wearing. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was a do-rag of some kind. So, this is the actual text of legislation. This act may be cited as the Protecting Speech from Government Interference Act. Section 2. Prohibition of federal government employee censorship. Policy regarding federal employee censorship. It is the policy of the Congress that employees acting in official capacity should neither take action within the authority or influence to promote the censorship of any lawful speech nor advocate that a third party, including a private entity, censors such speech. That's great. That's absolutely great to me. I have no problem with that. That's perfect, in fact. So, if this passes, even if the government tries to get Twitter to get a private company to censor, they couldn't do it under this law. I don't know why the Democrats are melting down about this. Like, this is a big deal. Like, this is like the end of the country or something. That's all you need to know. Say, this is the part. Section 7381, policy regarding federal employee censorship. It is the policy of the Congress that employees acting in official capacity should neither take action within the authority or influence to promote the censorship of any lawful speech, nor advocate that a third party, including a private entity, censor such speech. That's it. That's all. That's all you have to know. I mean, this bill would censor, would disallow what the government did with Twitter, with the original ownership of Twitter, which was censoring. That that is clear. That is concise. That is clear. That is concise, and that is what we need right now. We need some legislation like that. Now this continues. We have more Democrats here melting down. Representative Jim McGovern, Massachusetts. It's only 30 seconds, so let's watch this real quick.
Protecting speech from government. Finally, we have H.R. 140, the Protecting Speech from Government Interference Act, which does not protect free speech from government interference. In fact, it seeks to expand the First Amendment to include Vladimir Putin and the Chinese Communist Party.
What? Based on what? You can't say that. What do you base that on? This is ridiculous. You can't base that on anything. The law literally says the government cannot censor or cannot use a private company to censor. That's all that it says.
Party, while telling America's own federal law enforcement agencies that they are now forbidden from even notifying social media companies of attempts by Russia and the CCP to spread propaganda.
Alright, so that's ridiculous. There's more nonsense there from the Democratic Party. It's pathetic. It's just pathetic and embarrassing and excuse me. So there you go. Just embarrassing. The Democrats making asses of themselves. And as usual, as usual, just embarrassing. Sorry. Just embarrassing, humiliating themselves as usual. And yeah, I cannot believe how these people waste their time with this. Let me start getting rid of some of this stuff here. Let's see here.
Not
Nope, I don't want to do that. Rid of that. I want to talk about this one next. Oops. This is a tweet from my friend Joe at INN. So you follow him if you haven't already. It's STFU shitlib3. My buddy Joe. He made this compilation and I think it's absolutely hilarious. So let's watch it. These grifting propagandists are all the same. TYT, Cenk Uygur, Majority Report, Anna Kasparian, David Crackman, etc., etc. And that shitlib Mike Figueredo. Yep, I already talked about Mike Figueredo in my last stream. So let's see. Let's check this out. It's 2 minutes, so
the way that Assange seems.
I'll shut up for a while.
The way that Assange seems to be backing Donald Trump over and over and over again, it makes me very seriously question Assange's efforts to actually be a journalist and not to be a partisan.
Matt Taibbi, someone who I used to respect, he got exposed as the unprincipled, careerist opportunist that he is by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, of all people.
Really disappointing and sad to see, because Glenn, I thought, was a real journalist, and we've praised him on the show many times, and he did some amazing stories in the past. I'm not really sure about any of his past stories. Did he hide evidence on purpose in all of those? I don't know.
You can spend your time doing what Aaron Mate is doing, is denying genocide all day long, because that's also a path to making a lot of
No, fuck you, no Mickey. Honestly, I can't stand her.
money on the internet.
So Connolly just demonstrated that Matt Taibbi was Elon Musk's useful little idiot who willingly promoted a biased partisan narrative all for personal gain. And when Connolly tried to get him to admit that Musk hadn't given him the full story about how Trump was also trying to use his power to get tweets removed, well, all Taibbi could do was invoke Democrats, like the hack that he is.
But Mike isn't a hack. Mike Figueredo's not a hack, everybody. But Matt Taibbi is, of course.
Seems like Assange just picked a side, and look, it makes me question his reporting, and so that's the situation we're in now. So now is he just leaking things that he gets, and no matter what, in which case I would respect that, or is he selectively leaking based on his political motives? Now that suspicion is out there and it's real and it's possible, well, now I'm concerned that he can't be trusted.
Because Matt Taibbi used to be a good journalist. He was critical of the billionaire class and the establishment, but now he's on Team Red, presumably because that's where the money is.
Based on what? It's like they assert these things and then don't base them on anything. They just assert them because, by definition, according to them, must be true, right? Dumbasses.
I like Max as a person. I haven't really followed his work in the way that I used to years ago.
I don't think that his recent behavior invalidates the good work that he's done in the past, but certainly going forward, nothing that he says should
Matt Taibbi, Mike.
be taken seriously. The Matt Taibbi of today is completely different than the person that we all used to respect, that we had fond memories of. But career-wise, I have no doubt that this decision, his shift to the right, is very lucrative. But when it comes down to morality and ethics, I know...
Lucrative. They're obsessed with how much money people make. How much money do you make, Mike? I mean, you must make a shit ton of money off your little YouTube channel. Excuse me.
No, Matt Taibbi is too smart to believe his own bullshit, but he's going to have to live with the fact that he chose money over morals, and that's really sad, but this is the lane that he's chosen for himself. This is the lane that a lot of individuals have chosen.
I mean, if they're just going for the straight grift on this...
They're obsessed with grifters. Meanwhile, they're the biggest grifters in the world, all these people that are featured here.
It's just super, I don't know.
He's signaling to the 5G conspiracy theorists, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oops.
How fucking stupid are you?
Yep. Oops. Let me do that. How fucking stupid are you? Yep. 100%. 100%. Goddamn percent. So now, let's see. What else can we talk about here? Because I don't want to just sit here and talk about nothing. I'm going to talk about this Monday more. The DA struck a deal with Mexico's notorious drug cartel. That's not surprising, not shocking, but I'm going to leave that for Monday, though. I already talked about this, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, I already talked about this on Friday, too. Oops. All this has already been discussed by me. Oh, here, let me just mention this real quick since I'm here. Breaking, New York Times. The Manhattan DA's office recently signaled Trump lawyers that he could face criminal charges for his role in hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. The strongest indication that prosecutors are nearing an indictment of Trump. Indictment. Doesn't mean anything. Is a saying, and I tweeted this out, it's a saying among lawyers who can indict a ham sandwich. You can indict anyone. It's absolutely meaningless. 150% meaningless. I mean, it's not a conviction. It's not a federal conviction. It's not a federal one. Felony conviction. None of that. It's just an indictment. Anyone can be indicted. Doesn't mean you'll be convicted. Doesn't mean you even be brought to trial. Just means the grand jury found enough evidence to indict, which is you can indict anyone, because ultimately the defense isn't there to present their case. The defense isn't there to present their case. The prosecution just gives the grand jury exactly what they want to hear, and they usually indict. It's very rare when the grand juries don't indict. So this is pointless. This is just a waste of time. So I'm not even going to discuss it further because it's just a waste of time. So let's see what else we got here. Let's get rid of this. Let's see. Let's see here. What else I can, talk about? It's a lot of dead air right now, so. Interesting. See what this is here. Holy crap.
I got hit. I feel bad.
Nice. That's pure instinct there. That is pure instinct, 100%. Just pure instinct by, I think it's Ryan Garcia, I'm pretty sure. So, let's get rid of that. Just want to see what else I can. Let's see here. You know what? Let's watch some conspiracy videos here, which I like to watch. So I started watching this before. Hold on, let me just do that instead. There we go. I started watching this video beforehand, but I figured I'll just watch it here because I want to talk about a few things about it. It's called 15 Secrets the Vatican Doesn't Want You to Know. It's a recent video, so I'm going to go through it, discuss some of it, and then I'll tell you what I think. But bear with me 1 second. I have to go get something. No one watching anyway, so. Alright, so I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Now let's look at this video. Whoops, don't want that. Here we go. So let's do this. Let me actually play the video.
The Vatican City is a sovereign city-state that is 1/8 the size of Central Park in New York and is surrounded by a 2-mile border with Italy. Due to its location as a metropolitan landlocked outpost of Rome, the Vatican City has a very distinctive terrain. It is the smallest autonomous state in the world, with a border with Italy of 3.5 kilometers and a land size of about 121 acres. If you're looking for one of the biggest and most gorgeous squares on Earth, you'll find St. Peter's Square, situated beneath St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City. Other than natural disasters that impact Rome in general, like like earthquakes, the nation has no significant known natural hazards or natural resources. Several dark secrets the Vatican has been hiding are beginning to come to light, from the Pope who was beaten to death to cases of pornography. Here are 15 secrets the Vatican doesn't want you to know. Number 1. Pope John XII was beaten to death. The Pope serves as the head of the Catholic Church and a moral example continuing the work of St. Peter. Regrettably,
Yeah, moral example. The Catholic Church. My ass. I'm more moral than those motherfuckers.
several popes throughout history appear to have had different beliefs than St. Peter and even the Church at large. We all know that the Pope has presided over the Catholic Church for centuries, serving as a representation of Christ-like wholesomeness and a crucial moral voice on some of the most critical political and social concerns of the day. However, this hasn't always been the case for some popes, despite their reputation as pious and upright members of the Catholic world. It was never going to be a good start for Pope John XII because he ascended to the throne at the young age of 18, and he quickly converted his home into a brothel since...
I didn't know 18-year-olds could be popes. That's a new one I'm watching this video. I was like, whoa, 18-year-olds were popes? I always imagine popes as old white guys, but let's keep going.
His immature heart was not prepared for the life of a pope. And further down the rabbit hole, he participated in killing summoned demons and even had sex with his sisters. Are you eager to know the cause of his downfall? Well, his immoral acts would not last forever. Sooner rather than later, he met his Waterloo. A husband found his wife in bed with a John XII and couldn't stand it. He beat the Pope so severely that he passed away from his wounds 3 days later.
Damn.
Number 2, case of child pornography.
There it is.
Who would have believed that popes could be involved in a case that has to do with pornography? The Vatican found 2 cases of child pornography possession inside its much-revered walls, according to its head prosecutor, who warned that the Vatican is still dealing with the fallout from a widespread paedophilia problem in the Catholic Church. At a ceremony commemorating the beginning of the city judicial state's year, John Piero Milano, who has the official title of Promoter of Justice, presented the cases in a 50-page report read to Vatican officials. In the 2 decades, the Catholic Church has been rocked by controversy concerning the sexual abuse of minors by priests all over the world. While victims of abuse urge Pope Francis to go further and hold bishops who allegedly covered up the abuse accountable, the Pope has faithfully committed to showing zero tolerance for perpetrators. Milano stated in his report that Vatican police had looked into 2 delicate situations of varied degrees of importance: the possession of child pornography material by individuals residing or employed in the Vatican, which serves as the seat of the 1.2 billion member church. According to sources, the story...
Yeah. Come on. Really? The Catholic Church hasn't done much to stop molestation and child pornography. They've done very little. So the idea they're actually doing something, I just don't buy. I do not buy it.
The story revolved around a former archbishop who was placed under house arrest by the Vatican for allegedly having 100,000 child pornography movies and photographs stored on his work computer at the Holy See's residence in the Dominican Republic. His laptop allegedly had a gallery of horrors. Inside this gallery, you'd see teenagers between the ages of 13 and 17 being humiliated in front of the camera, being filmed naked, and being made to have sex with both other teenagers and adults.
Oh, God.
According to the Vatican, Pope Francis wanted such a grave and delicate issue to be handled without delay.
Sure he did.
The Pope requested that appropriate and necessary measures be taken, which is reflected in the arrest. The Pope had declared that he has zero tolerance for clerics who exploit minors sexually. For the first time in Vatican history, Francis met with victims of clergy sexual abuse, and he promised that the Vatican would hold the responsible church leaders accountable. Number 3, the Vatican allegedly invested in Rocket Man. Have you seen...
They invested in Elton John's movie? That's weird. Let's let them explain how.
Rocket Man. If you're an Elton John fan, you're certainly familiar with the movie Rocket Man, which celebrates his discovery of happiness in a romantic relationship. The Vatican was one of the movie's investors, which is the sole oddity. In a proclamation, Pope Francis forbade gay marriage, declaring that God does not and cannot bless wickedness. Gay marriage is not a part of God's design according to the Church, which holds that marriage must be between a cis man and a cis woman. However, this proclamation clearly enraged the LGBT.
Yeah, but of course. I mean, the Catholic Church is always going to say that. I can't believe people were surprised by that. It's a Catholic Church, for fuck's sakes.
Q+ community all across the world, because it was also seen as an indictment of their intentions to maintain serious lifelong relationships with one another. Among the many people that weren't pleased with this proclamation was Elton, who is the movie's main subject. He attacked them on Twitter by showcasing evidence that the Vatican had contributed millions of dollars and profited from his movie. John asked how the Pope could gladly make a profit off of investing millions in Rocket Man, a movie that celebrates him finding happiness through his marriage to David, while refusing to approve of homosexual marriages because they are sinful. The Vatican did in fact contribute about $1.2 million to Rocket Man, according to fact-checkers. The 2019's musical production received $4.3 million from the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, which was split with another box office success, Men in Black International. The investment is connected to the Malta-based Centurion Global Fund, which receives the majority of its funding.
The Vatican is funding pro-gay movies, but turning around and saying, oh, well, we're anti-gay, we don't want gay marriage. Okay. Hypocrisy.
From the Secretariat of State of the Vatican. Also, a percentage of the investment comes from Peter's Pence, which are gifts made to the Vatican by individual members of the Catholic Church. Number 4, proof that Jesus might have been married. What many know and believe, especially Christians, is that Jesus Christ came into this world as the Son of God through virgin birth and ascended back into heaven after his work here on earth was done. However, there has long been a rumor that Jesus wed Mary Magdalene and had children with her. This outlandish rumor is purportedly supported by documented evidence. The notion is supported by a manuscript from the 6th century. The tale of Jesus Christ's marriage was found while it was being translated from Greek to the ancient language of Syriac. The Bible, however, makes no mention of this. His birth and death are both...
no, of course it wouldn't make much of it. I mean, if Jesus actually had a wife and kids, that would go against everything that Christianity stands for. So, nope, even if that's true, it's not going to appear in the Bible.
Described in great detail in the Bible, but the 30 years in between are completely not spoken of. The lost gospel is a
So, is there a royal bloodline out there, like a Jesus bloodline we don't know about? Tell me what you think about that one.
Document that describes Jesus as associated with sex and who fell in love with Mary Magdalene and fathered her children. But then the church is divided on this subject for a variety of reasons. To begin with, this manuscript isn't really trustworthy. Despite being a genuine item from the British Library, nobody is aware of where or when it was written. Furthermore, the book asserts that Mary Magdalene was a co-redeemer of humanity and the daughter of God.
What?
In essence, it suggests that she was just as significant...
She's a daughter of God? Okay, I never heard that one. That's a new one. I've heard that that Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene. I've never heard that one, where she's the daughter of God too somehow. So, is incest involved in this? Okay, sure.
Significant as Jesus, which obviously doesn't sit well with the Vatican. After all, the Holy See has done everything in his power to exonerate Jesus. According to certain historians, Jesus might have led a stereotypically human existence that the Vatican, like we, might not be aware of. Number 5. Vatican City has the highest per capita wine consumption.
Look at that. Vatican City has the highest per capita wine consumption. Holy crap. That means that they're always drunk there at the Vatican. Now maybe I should move there, because they have all the wine in the world there, so fuck yeah.
5. Vatican City has the highest per capita wine consumption. Over time, sources have shown that even priests and popes drink wines, beer, and others. The belief is that you should do everything in moderation, although using alcohol is not intrinsically bad. Once a person achieves a certain degree of drunkenness, they may have overused it to the point of grave sin. One of the reasons the Church has historically permitted and even advocated alcohol intake is that moderation is beneficial for health. Think the medieval religious orders and how they produced wine, beer, whiskey, and liquor. According to the California-based Wine Institute, Vatican City is the nation with the highest per capita wine consumption. The Wine Institute, based in California, estimates that each person in the tiny state consumed 74 liters of wine on average in 2012. That would be roughly 98 bottles if they drank the regular size. It is also completely natural that the Pope is fond of whiskey, particularly Scotch, given it was monks who first introduced distillation and Christianity to Scotland in the 4th and 5th centuries. The Lindores Abbey also claims to have made the earliest documented mention of whiskey in a record of malt supplied to Friar John Core, the creation of the Water of Life in 1494. Number 6. Benedict IX was Pope 3 times.
Really?
During his lifetime,
Wow.
Benedict IX served as Pope 3 times. The first time was when he was only 12 years old. He developed into a cruel young man when his political opponents attempted to have him killed, and he fled the scene to seek refuge in the city. Between his 2 reigns, he began robbing, killing, and doing other unspeakable atrocities all around the city. In 1045, he was elected Pope once more, a position he held for a rocky 2 months before being forced out. He attempted again 2 years after departing a second time, but this time he only stayed for 8 months before being eventually forced away and never coming back. If anyone was actually not capable of handling the position of Pope, Benedict IX would top the list. Number 7. The Vatican has secret archives.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's a big one in conspiracy world. That's a big one. Their secret archives.
Speculation about what is inside the Vatican was stoked by the Catholic Church's secrecy and the potential treasure that lay within. And since conspiracy theories continue regarding its substance, such as the absurd theory that the Vatican is harboring aliens there, even the name conjures up images of the Catholic Church's mystery and pomp. And those with more imagination may conjure up ominous ideas about what might be held there. The indexes to the archives are kept in a fortress-like area of the Vatican and are not available to the general public, except scholars who can only access them after they turn 75. They also house some of the most priceless artifacts of the Catholic Church, including papers from the 7th century. A letter written by Mary, Queen of Scots, who was executed after being made to surrender her kingdom and spending over 20 years in jail, stands out as a particularly noteworthy artifact. In the end, she received a death sentence for plotting to assassinate Queen Elizabeth I, a Protestant relative.
Wow.
She was about to be beheaded when she penned a frantic letter to Pope Sixtus V, pleading for her life and denouncing the heretics who would ultimately put her to death. She was executed on February 8, 1587, when the Pope did not step in to save her. The oldest known, nearly complete copy of the Bible, the Codex Vaticanus Graecus 1209, is one of the library's most well-known collections. And in 1623, the hidden history of Procopius was written down after being found in a library. Number 8. Vatican Mystery, Disappearance of a Girl.
What?
Orlandi disappeared on June 22nd.
That's disappearance of a girl? Holy shit, what do they do now? What do they do?
In 1983, while traveling to Rome for a music lesson from her family's apartment in Vatican City. Her father worked for the Holy See as a layperson. One of the long-standing mysteries of the Vatican, her disappearance has been connected to a variety of things over the years. Emanuela Orlandi's family is still trying to determine why she was targeted that fateful evening in 1983, nearly 40 years after she went missing.
Damn, 40
Emanuela,
years.
the 15-year-old daughter of a Vatican official, disappeared while returning home from a music lesson in Rome. Her whereabouts are still unknown.
Wow.
Later, in 2012, Gabriele Amor, the Vatican's top exorcist, asserted that Orlandi had been abducted by Vatican police as part of a sex ring. Attempts to link the human remains with the missing girl's DNA were made when they were discovered in 2018 inside the Holy See Embassy in Italy in central Rome.
Wow.
The location of the princess's remains will be examined according to the Vatican. On July 13, 2019, the Vatican revealed the discovery of 2 sets of bones close to the tombs of 2 princesses, sparking rumors that one set of bones may be Orlandi's remains. Number 9. The Vatican helped Nazi war criminals escape the Allied forces.
Yes, they did. This is true. This is not even bullshit. It's absolutely true that they helped Nazis escape during escape the Allies for World War II, or after World War II. I mean, the war ended.
There were hundreds of thousands of people who actively participated in the extermination of Europe's Jews and organized mass murder in ghettos and death camps. Millions more were active and inactive members of the Nazi Party. Only 22 persons were found guilty at the conclusion of the Nuremberg trials, which were set up by the Allies to bring Nazi war criminals to justice.
Motherfuckers.
11 people received the death penalty, 3 were declared innocent, 3 received life sentences, and 4 received terms ranging from 10 to 20 years in jail. In war crime courts in the Soviet Union, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Poland in the late 1940s and early 1950s, hundreds of more convictions, including death sentences, were delivered on Nazi high brass. But the mass killers who committed genocide throughout Nazi-occupied Europe make up just a small portion of those who were prosecuted and sentenced. What happened to the countless SS and Wehrmacht members that carried out horrific atrocities? What about the thousands of SS officials, soldiers, and Einsatzgruppen that forced the Jews to dig
they also ended up in the U.S. too, some of these Nazis, through Operation Paperclip. So a lot of them ended up here in the United States, so it's not like just the Vatican helped them escape. No, we did too.
Graves before shooting entire villages into graves. What about those who killed prisoners by torturing them, forced them into gas chambers, and gave millions of people Zyklon B pellets that suffocated them to death? What about the sadists who executed all those who were unable to keep up by sending thousands of inmates on death marches? The vast majority of these offenders dissolved right back into society after the war's end, resuming civilian lives, according to scholars Gerald Steinacher and John Loftus. Few were prosecuted or given any sort of punishment. The historians indicate that many of the most notable war criminals were able to elude justice by leaving Europe. The Vatican, as well as the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, two of post-World War II Europe's most reputable organizations, as well as US intelligence services, assisted them in this. Number 10. The Vatican made a fortune from the Holocaust. Pope Pius XII.
Of course they did. They made a shit ton of money. Cash. Just cold hard cash is what they got from the Holocaust.
12th oversaw the Catholic Church during the turmoil of World War II, but criticism has dogged his reputation over his silence regarding the fate of millions of Jews who perished in the Holocaust. For detractors, the pontiff's failure to publicly denounce the Nazis is a moral abomination with grave repercussions. British journalist John Cornwell's divisive 1999 biography of Pius made the case that the religious figure prioritized the papacy's power over the fate of Europe's Jews, gaining some control and securing safety from the communist threat by serving as Hitler's pope and a pawn. Advocates contend that Pius's decision to remain silent was meant to avert German vengeance and maintain the success of the Catholic Church's covert efforts to assist those who were being persecuted by the Nazis. The Vatican was involved in assisting the smuggling of Nazi-confiscated art, gold, and other property belonging to Jewish families, in addition to assisting the escape of thousands of Nazis from Europe. According to American journalist Gerald Posner, Bernardino Nogara, the Vatican's financial counselor, is thought to have been a Nazi spy.
Oh,
He's thought to have implemented a terrible strategy that permitted the Vatican to invest cash in Italian insurance funds that held on to the assets from the life insurance policies of the dead Jewish families.
Oh my God.
The Vatican did not have to repay any of the money they made from the plan because they were only an investment and not a direct insurer.
Oh my God.
Number 11. Vatican has a bathroom with pornography images.
What?
The Vatican Archives, according to some conspiracy theories, is home to the world's largest collection of pornographic material. These hypotheses are supported by the works of
What was that?
Largest collection of pornographic material.
I believe that. The Vatican is the largest collector of pornography in the world. It's like they want to hide it from the world, so they collect it in their archives. Like, yeah, of course, let's hide this shit. Let's not show the world the porn that we have, Let's not show the porn that we have. Let's just hide it in our archives. Nobody ever sees it.
These hypotheses are supported by the works of Camille Parlier, a scholar and National Reviewer founder William Buckley Jr., as well as Copenhagen's Museum of Erotica. However, some experts believe that this is just a myth. As old as the building itself are rumors that the Vatican is home to obscene artwork. The majority of the tales are made up, one, however, is not. In the papal apartments in 1516, the Renaissance artist Raphael painted central frescoes in the bathroom. In honor of the worldly authority who ordered the piece, the evil gallery is now known as the Stufetta della Bibbiena, or the Little Heated Room of Cardinal Bibbiena. It was obviously a different time when Bibbiena, like the majority of papal officials, preferred to be a patron of the arts over a minister of God. In addition, he wrote provocative plays and was a learned gentleman. Bibbiena shared his companion's fascination with the crude pagan artifacts emerging from imperial Roman ruins. He commissioned his buddy Raphael to furnish his apartment in the then current classical style, complete with naked nymphs being watched by lustful satyrs with no anatomical details being concealed. The Vatican Palace's subsequent tenants were unimpressed. Before a Catholic art specialist uncovered the stufetta in the middle of the 19th century, it had been vandalized, coated with whitewash, and even converted into a kitchen. Yet access remained restricted, to put it concealed. This was largely due to the fact that this area of the palace became the Pope's personal apartment after 1870, and Cardinal Bibbiena's historic bedroom served as the location for important diplomatic encounters with visiting heads of state. The elite began to hear about the renovated restroom, but only a select few were allowed to see it. Number 12, the Apostolic Penitentiary. In case you don't know, the covert court known as the Apostolic Penitentiary looks into people's allegedly heinous crimes. The congregation...
I've never heard of this, so this is new to me too.
For the doctrine of the faith investigates and prosecutes the sins the Catholic Church deems to be the most serious. The Vatican also has a specific institution for assisting the guilty in repenting and reconciling with God and the Church. The work of the Apostolic Penitentiary, which is overseen by U.S. Cardinal J. Francis Stafford, is likely the most secretive of any Vatican office when it comes to concerns involving the conscience of specific Catholics. Even tribunals that handle sensitive issues involving requests for marital annulments release annual reports detailing the number of cases that were initiated and concluded over the year. Because its work is protected by the sacramental seal of confession, the Apostolic Penitentiary does not divulge any kind of sensitive material. Those brought before this tribunal can only receive absolution from the Pope. The attempted assassination of the Pope, a priest revealing a confessor's sin or identity, and other similar offenses are examples of sins. The major penitentiary headed by the Pope has two options. It can either grant automatic excommunication or offer absolution. Number 13, the Vatican has a time machine.
No.
Have you heard of the chronovisor? Do you believe that the Vatican possesses a hidden time machine?
I've heard of this conspiracy, that the Vatican allegedly has a time machine. So, I think it's ridiculous, but, I'm open to almost anything, but a time machine, really?
The Vatican is said to have a hidden time machine called the chronovisor. But does this really exist? There are undoubtedly countless mysteries that accompany different world faiths, but there is a myth that has persisted among Catholics for a long time, which is the chronovisor. There are many stories that have emerged concerning both the events that take place inside the Roman Catholic Church's headquarters and the stories from the Bible, due to the Vatican's hermetic stance on various matters. This case involves the purported existence of a form of time machine that allowed for the capture of photographs of Jesus being crucified. It is alleged that with this machine one could look back in time, and it was used to capture photographs of Jesus. Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti, an Italian scientist and priest, is thought to have created the chronovisor, a gadget that allegedly enables users to see both the past and the future.
Yeah.
In the absence of any evidence, some people think the archives may not contain any such device. Number 14, Rwandan genocide. The Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, a Tutsi rebel...
The genocides. They're involved in that too. What aren't they involved in? What the hell aren't they involved in? Trust me. They're involved in a lot. They're involved in a lot. So, I'm not surprised that this turns out they're involved in this, but let's check this out.
Rebel organization invaded Rwanda in 1990. Force was used by the military in retaliation, and the situation turned into a civil war. While Hutu-dominated media portrayed the Tutsi minority as a threat to Rwanda, anti-Tutsi sentiment started to become more intense. Before the genocide, Rwanda was regarded as one of the most Catholic nations in Africa. However, the Catholic Church's involvement in the murder led to a massive religious crisis. The Rwandan churches successfully evangelized thousands of new followers via the use of music and media, and the churches themselves were utilized by the genocide's perpetrators as a means of murder. Tutsi victims went to the house of God in search of safety because they believed it would shield them from harm. As a result of extremists taking advantage of this religion, hundreds of people were brutally murdered in churches all over the nation. The bloodshed in Rwanda exposed the Catholic Church to its worst horrors. In 100 days, 1 million Rwandans perished, yet several Catholic nuns and priests did little to help. The bulk of fatalities allegedly occurred inside or near churches. Number 15, emergency route. The 2,600-foot stone Pisetto di Borgo connecting the Vatican City and the Castel Sant'Angelo appears to the unassuming eye to be a standard fortress. Nonetheless, it has a path inside its walls that previous popes have utilized as a last resort exit. The wall was first built in 850 and Pope Nicholas III oversaw the construction of the current version in 1277. Just in time, Pope Alexander VI completed the wall in 1492, and 2 years later he used it to escape the invading French. The most recent papal flight occurred in 1527, when Clement VII eluded Charles V's 20,000 rebellious soldiers. After the high drama of the 16th century, the Pisetto sat in deteriorating condition, closed to the general public, but accessible to the current pope in an emergency. The Pisetto underwent renovations in 2000 in observance of the Great Jubilee year of the Roman Catholic Church. It has recently become accessible to guests for a brief period each summer. The Vatican Apostolic Palace and Castel Sant'Angelo, which are located on the banks of the Tiber River, are connected by a fascinating 13th century tunnel that is incorporated into the last remaining portion of Rome's medieval wall. This underground tube, which has been referred to as the final escape route of the popes, is a kind of ghost track that, despite its many horrors, has captured the imagination of many authors. For instance, author Dan Brown's inspiration for his best-selling novel Angels and Demons.
I read this book. It's a great book, and the movies are good too. But I read the Dan Brown books, The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and there's another one. Which one is it? I don't remember right now, but there's 3 of them. I love all these books. I mean, they're fascinating.
Which transforms the Vatican into a setting for fantastical conspiracies, came to him while he was in that tiny passageway. This tunnel was constructed from a tiny wall constructed by the Ostrogoth rulers who invaded Rome in 546. It is one of the few remaining examples of a Roman structure from the Middle Ages. During the period, the Hadrian's Mausoleum, later known as the Castel Sant'Angelo, was connected to the lower portion of Vatican Hill by the wall.
Alright, that's that video. I mean, geez, there's a lot of... very interesting to me. I like this type of stuff, so let's see what else is in this channel. The U.S. Navy is testing an army of weird robots in real life. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, hell, I think it's the LAPD or the San Francisco Police Department who already has, robots as cops, which is bullshit. There should not be no goddamn robots as cops, but it's happening. Ancient tunnel of unknown civilization just been found. Day in the life of Elon Musk. Oh, that'll definitely trigger the libs if I watch that. But they lied to us for 5,000 years. And this is interesting. I actually like this type of history. But yeah, I'll be right back, guys. I mean, I have to use the bathroom, so before I decide what to watch next. So give me a second. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. And make sure my battery isn't dying. Let me charge my battery for a bit. I want my battery to die suddenly on me. Alright, there we go. So let's get rid of that. So what's next? Let's watch some. Let's watch some ancient alien content. Is I like that type of stuff. So bear with me 1 second. Stupid. Oh my god. Secret alien agenda guiding humanity, the secrets of mankind origins, the mysteries of Atlantis. Atlantis, that's interesting. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike for this, but I don't think I will. Because I'm actually reacting to this and it'll be interesting. It's too loud.
The Bible's book of Genesis. In chapter 6, verse 9, begins the story of Noah and the flood, in which God
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air. For it repenteth me, I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are just generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Excuse me. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked up upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all the flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And blah, 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 blah.
9 begins the story.
The generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generation, and Noah walked with God. Yes, he walked with God. Trust me, believe me, he did. Trust me, he did.
Of Noah and the flood, in which God sends a great deluge to rid the earth of sinners and start anew. Different versions of this same story exist in nearly every ancient tradition around the world.
Going back 5,000 years, we have...
Yeah, that's the thing. Nearly every religion or every sect around the world has this type of story, the flood story. So it's not just Christianity that has this story, which is fascinating to me. Like, why does nearly every civilization have a similar story? I mean, I'm very interested in this, and this is an interesting theory that they propose here on the show.
Sacred texts that tell us there was an antediluvian civilization. There was a great flood, and that there were survivors. The Mesopotamians speak of this in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Egyptians speak of this in the Edfu creation text. Plato learned from the Egyptians that there was once a civilization called Atlantis that existed 9,000 years before his time.
Plato wrote about the lost continent of Atlantis in 2 of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC. Historians and researchers have
I've had to read those for my college when I was in college about 10 years ago. So, yeah, I read all this. I'm fascinated by alternate history. Not I've always been anti-establishment in politics and now in history. So I love the alternate history stuff like this. So I'm very interested in this type of content.
Debated whether this pre-flood civilization was purely mythological or actually existed. Arguments have been made suggesting remnants of Plato's destroyed civilization could be found at the South Pole.
I think what happened in Antarctica was that approximately 13,000 years ago, that flourishing civilization that originally came from space and establishing its presence in Antarctica was flash frozen. We actually have ancient evidence of this in the form of Plato's dialogues, where he talks about the last days of Atlantis. That basically is informing us that Atlantis was an extraterrestrial colony that had established itself on Earth, and that after a pole shift, Atlantis was moved under the ice where the South Pole...
A pole shift. That's very interesting to me, because I do believe there was an Atlantean type of civilization. There had to be. I mean, there's no way that there could have not been. I mean, come on. I mean, I believe in aliens. Aliens have to be real. I mean, our universe is just way too goddamn big to not have any other intelligent life but us. Us humans. There has to be more out there. Like, the truth is out there. If you watch the X-Files back in the 90s, I mean, the truth has to be out there. I really do believe there's aliens out there, and they have to have visited us at some point. Even today. I'm sure they're hanging around here. Hell, maybe you've met aliens. You have no idea. So, yeah, I definitely do believe that there was some sort of ancient civilization who was even smarter than what we are right now. We aren't really that smart, to be honest.
Pole currently is.
As more and more pieces of the puzzle start to come together, might we soon be able to solve the mystery of the Antarctic continent? And if so, just what might we discover?
Modern whistleblowers still argue that there is more about Antarctica that is being covered up than we think. There are entire bases down there, entire civilizations, that the world's governments are working with aliens.
They know about the buried artifacts, they know about the ancient civilizations down there, and they know about the extraterrestrial civilizations that continue to operate in Antarctica at the very moment.
It's totally possible that Antarctica contains an extraterrestrial home base on Earth. It's a totally isolated part of the planet. It's completely uninhabited, or was until recently. It's ideal.
Atlantis is a lost island.
Alright, this is the second part. The stone connected with underwater city. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of monuments or structures in Antarctica once the ice start melting. Because the ice is already melting in Antarctica as we speak. So I wouldn't be excuse me. Sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of ancient buildings or something like that in Antarctica once the ice starts melting off. Which is one reason why I'm partially happy that the ice is melting off. But at the same time, that means we're fucked because the sea level is going to get higher. And that means that a lot of coastal cities will cease to exist, including my island of Puerto Rico will cease to exist, which is not good. Obviously, I love the island, you know. I haven't gone back in a few years, but I've always loved the island. But, yeah, part of me wants Antarctica to melt away, that we could see what's actually there, you know. Because I'm sure there's some kind of structures there that prove that maybe, you know, there were other civilizations, but other smarter civilizations. They're under ice right now, which is why we can't see them. But I really do think there's something there which would be fascinating to find out about. But at the same time, I know that the government will try to hide this from us, even if there's something there. They'll try to hide it, like, oh no, there's nothing here. It's just you know, fossils of millions of years of animals, and maybe even fossilized viruses and diseases that could kill us one day. That's the only thing that's there. Trust us, believe us. That's basically what they're going to say to us. So let's watch a little bit more of that. I'm not sure I'll watch this whole thing because let me see what time it is. It's almost 1 a.m. and today and daylight saving times hits. So after 1 a.m. be 3 a.m. and I'm gonna lose an hour of sleep. So I'm not really happy about that. But let's keep on a little bit more of this.
Civilization that was originally discussed by Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias around 360 BC. Plato was writing about events that took place 9,000 years before his time. He tells us that Atlantis was governed by laws that were inscribed on a pillar that was housed in the Temple of Poseidon in the center of Atlantis. This pillar was made of a mysterious Atlantean substance called orichalcum, which means of unknown origin.
It was said that the Temple of Poseidon flashed with the red light of orichalcum. The copper tint of this metal caught the attention of the seekers that came to this sacred place. This has spiritual implications. There was something about this metal that was said to resonate with the divine.
2015, marine archaeologists off the coast of Sicily discovered a shipwreck. And preserved in the shipwreck were metal ingots, 39 of them, which the marine archaeologists told the world were orichalcum.
This raised the question of, is it possible that Plato's story is actual historical fact? And what was discovered here in this shipwreck is evidence of Plato's story.
Now, orichalcum is 80% copper and 20% zinc. What's interesting about this?
Orichalcum. Again, I've heard this before because I'm into this type of stuff, but I'm fascinated by this type of stuff. We'll see, because that's only been made, apparently, you have to be really smart to somehow make this element, which I'm gonna let them explain because they're a lot smarter than I am about it. So let's check this out.
This is that zinc doesn't naturally occur. Zinc only occurs in nature as sphalerite. It's a zinc-sulfur complex. In order to create zinc, you have to actually process the zinc out of this sulfide. They didn't have that technology back then.
You have to create zinc. It's not like it's really made in nature. So if you find an element from thousands of years ago that's made from zinc, there has to be some sort of not modern, but intelligent people that can make that. And primitive humans shouldn't be able to make this type of shit. So yeah, that's why I buy into some kind of ancient alien theory or stuff like that.
Plato does not tell us anything about how orichalcum was mined or how it was manufactured. He only says that it was of unknown origin. However, given its connection with Poseidon and the gods, we can reasonably speculate that it was the gods themselves who taught the Atlanteans how to utilize this very powerful substance.
Those who could smelt metals, who could work with metals, this was considered to be a gift from the divine realm. This was considered to be something that humans didn't naturally do, and was something that had to be from the gods.
According to the ancient astronaut theory, our ancestors were taught.
They're going to explain the ancient alien theory basically here. And I know this is just a show, and I know they what's what I'm looking for? They make stuff up, not make stuff up, but embellish certain things. At the same time, though, to me at least, it makes sense. There's no way primitive humans could have done some of the ancient world marvels that we see. They have to have some sort of help. I don't know, either by God or aliens or whatever you want to call what happened here. But there had to be some sort of assistance. Like primitive humans, I don't see them making this type of stuff. This type of the ancient wonders, like the Puma Punku, or what's that place? I'm planking on it. What is that called? In Peru, It's a city built in the mountains. Why am I forgetting the name of the city? Peru Mountain. Wait a minute. Bear me 1 second. Mountain City. Machu Picchu. That's what it is. It's Machu Picchu. See, there it is right there, Machu Picchu. I searched for Peru Mountain City because I couldn't remember the goddamn name of it right now. It's Machu Picchu. I mean, there's no way that they could have built that without some sort of assistance. It could be God, it could be ancient aliens, whatever you want to call it, but they've had to have some sort of assistance. So let's get back to the video.
Didn't naturally do, and was something that had to be from the gods.
According to the ancient astronaut theory, our ancestors were taught in various scientific disciplines. They were taught the process of metallurgy by extraterrestrials. They taught them how to work metal with primitive means, just to get started with ultimately turning ourselves into the super civilization that we are today.
Athens, Greece, the 4th century.
This is history between Greece and ancient civilization. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to take this. But because it's getting late, so I might go a bit longer because I'm not really sleepy, so I'm just going to let this go. For now, at least. Let me do this real quick. I actually want to cover this on Monday stream. So, by the way, join me Monday evening, Monday afternoon, 2 Eastern for episode 3 of the Cynic Live. So, I'll be promoting that throughout the week, or tomorrow, of course, but, join me for that, episode 3 of Cynic Live, 2 Eastern, or 2:15 Eastern, most likely. So, let's keep going with this, though, for now.
BC. In his famous dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, the Greek philosopher Plato writes about a lost continent that existed 9,000 years before his time and was home to a highly advanced civilization. Called Atlantis, it was founded by the Greek god Poseidon, and the inhabitants possessed sophisticated technology. But Atlantis was ultimately destroyed by a terrible cataclysm. And according to some researchers, the story of its destruction is strikingly similar to Native American traditions detailing the end of the Third World.
The Hopi and other Pueblo Indians tell us that their devastating cataclysm was due to human greed and wandering away from the spiritual truths of our Creator. What's interesting about this is that this idea is echoed in Plato's story of the destruction of Atlantis. The Atlanteans were also created by gods. As soon as humanity wandered off into materialism, that's when Atlantis was destroyed by water. A perfect correspondence with what the Hopi said happened at the end of the Third World.
Could there be a connection between the ancient Greek tale of Atlantis and Native American origin stories? Ancient astronaut theorists suggest another story told by early Native Americans bears striking similarities to Atlantis, the legend of the lost city of Aslan, which appears in the traditions of the Aztecs and numerous Native American groups throughout the Southwest.
It's considered the birthplace of civilization, based on the Mexica codices and the oral history of the Mojaves, of the Hopis. So we have all these oral history also that allude to the origin of Aslan.
There's debate among scholars as to exactly what Aslan looked like. And we know that the Aztecs say that their capital of Tenochtitlan was made in the image of Aslan. And from that capital, we get a backwards projection that their origin place is an island surrounded by water. They actually built Tenochtitlan up into the lake and put causeways out so that it looks very much like Atlantis.
Really? Interesting.
According to the Aztecs, the god Huitzilopochtli was the founder of Tenochtitlan, which, as far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, provides yet another intriguing connection to Plato's description of Atlantis.
Tenochtitlan was a place made artificially. Compare it to Atlantis. In both cases, a god was the ruler of it. In Atlantis, we have Poseidon. Now, Poseidon was an extraterrestrial. Not everyone should have access to Atlantis. The same thing in Aztlan or Tenochtitlan. They wanted to be separated. They had a certain technology there, which was a hidden technology, and it was not for the general public. So it's the same thing.
The fact that we have stories that are not just similar but identical leads me to think that perhaps these ancient cultures were visited by the same extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I mean, it's like there's some sort of logic to that. It's like, well, if the cities are similar, then that must mean that they had to have some sort of help from extraterrestrials, which means that they visited both of these places, to help them build up their cities. Oh, really? YouTube just took me down? Yeah, it's because I'm playing this, I guess. Oh, God. Yeah, it's because I'm probably streaming this stuff. That's why YouTube took me down, if that's the case. And that's why I didn't want to stream it, towards INN and stuff for that reason. Because I knew that some of this shit this possibly could happen. This possibly could happen. Well, this might as well just wrap this up here, but I don't want to get, in any more trouble as I am right now. So, well, is it? Yeah, I just checked it because I just checked it now and it was fine. So I just checked my YouTube channel and it was fine. So I don't know what happened. Because if I check my channel, it says that it's live. So if I show this part, see, it says that it's live right now. As you can see there, it says it's live. So I don't know what happened. See, see, it's still there. See there, it says it's live. So, let's get rid of that. Let's go back to that. But yeah, it says it's live, so it's just weird. What time is it? I just closed that by accident. Yeah, it's getting late anyway, so yeah, it was weird. I mean, excuse me. I guess I'll just wrap up here anyways because it's 1 a.m. and this is usually the time I go to sleep. So, and it's almost an hour and a half I've been streaming. So, yeah, I think I'm about to just probably hit the bed anyways. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me do my shameless plugs before I go. Make sure you sub to the INN channels. All that is around there somewhere. My videos, my YouTube channel. Make sure you sub to that. Follow me on Twitter. Those are my Twitter handles right there. Make sure you sub to my YouTube channel, obviously. I mean, you like this video, you like the stream already, make sure you do that. And the Answer Cynic Live episode 3 will be Tuesday, or Monday rather, most likely at around 2 to 2:15. So I'll confirm that with you tomorrow or Monday for sure. So check that out. Oh yeah, and make sure you check out How Do We Miss That? how did we miss that with Indian Reef tomorrow 10 Eastern. So yeah, definitely check that out. I'll be there watching. And I think that's it. So I'll see everybody on Monday evening, Monday afternoon around 2:15, 2 o'clock. Make sure you check out How Do We Miss That with Indian Reef, which is tomorrow night at 10 Eastern. So check that out. Hopefully, yeah, good night, Indy. And hopefully, they don't have me repeating, another song, they came up with, did last week, with the how did you see this? What was it? Look at this photograph. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again, but we'll see. So, hope everybody has a great night. We're gonna lose an hour of sleep, which doesn't make me happy, but not much you can do about it now with the change in time. So, I hope everybody has a great night. I know I will, and I'll see you guys most likely Monday or tomorrow.